as a spiritual coach and as someone that's on the spiritual path or that is awakened, you see that there is no such thing as time. And that's a difficult concept to grasp, because if there is no time, then how do we achieve the things that we want to achieve? But as we start to look around and notice, we start to see that there's two qualities or two landscapes that we operate within. The first one is that we must operate within a time-based environment, because we're not going to run off to the hills. And I don't recommend running off to the hills to meditate for hours on end if our practice is to live a life. In our life, we are called into experiences based on our vasanas, or our karmic makeup, which means that there are things that we are to experience within our operating of this body. And the concept that I wanted to introduce is this idea of no action within action. So what does that mean? It means that even though we have action and we have time and we operate within a schedule, within ourself there is no action. And it's a practice of being really present. And presence is the power of now, and from a spiritual concept is no goal orientation. So there's no orientation towards anything within the physical. And if we inquire into the presence, so how do we inquire into the presence? Well, there's a couple of techniques that you can use. The first one may be meditation, but if you haven't got a really strong meditation practice, it can be difficult to drop out of the mind. The second thing is to understand that there is two ways to operate within this world, one being through action and schedule and the other being through presence. So taking whatever time in the morning to really drop out of being only the schedule orientated. And how do we do that? How do we actually get out of that mental, intellectual world of the day, like I've got this to do, that to do, checklist to do? It is essentially, there's a practice of being. And so meditation helps us to become aware of our being. But anything that you find that gets you out of your head, it could be a walk along the beach, sometimes nature. It could simply be spending 5 minutes in the morning just lying in bed to really connect into who we are, who we truly are. And even those words, that who we truly are, can be very misleading in this practice, because we haven't developed the discernment to understand fully what that actually means. But just lying in bed and just acknowledging that we have two speeds which we operate every day. One is the doing, the action, the schedule, the time, and the other is our presence and our being and our ability to be really here with whatever it is that's going on for us. One of the ways that we live our life is defined by what we find important. And in a way, when we start to be called into looking deeper than the schedule, looking deeper than the checklist for today, this is a helpful tool to really get a grasp of what it means to live a spiritual life. And a spiritual life is not one that's out there away from the world. It's one that's in here and really connected into who we really are. And that inquiry can only come to those that are ready to experience something more, ready to experience a letting go of all of out there and really experience what is coming naturally within us. And it's interesting, one of the spiritual teachers I follow said, when we look at the life, we think this, our spirit, our soul or our consciousness, that we're knocking on the door to get in. It's really our being, our consciousness knocking on the door to get out. We allow our spirit, our consciousness to expand out of us and show and develop outwards from our presence. So even though we can't drop the time-based environment that we live in, we definitely can bring our presence and know that there is place for both of those things in our modern day life. And I hope this really helped you to look today at what am I doing to get into my presence, to my being, to get really focused here in what this world has to offer for us. And when we're present, we really are open to what could, all of the possibilities that could come to us today, and it make our life exciting, enjoyable, fun. Our presence is our power. It doesn't mean we drop the schedule, the times, the things we need to do, but know those things and only one aspect of who we are as a person, or as a being, or as a consciousness on this planet, depending on how you look at it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and look, I'm really excited to share more. Talk to me about anything that you want to speak about, and I will speak again soon.